Hey, what's up, everybody? Doing it a little differently tonight. It's been a while for me. I haven't been doing videos in quite a while. And right with me on this phone right now via Skype is my buddy, partner in crime, Dashing, Kevin Walsh. Kevin, what's up, bro?
What's going on? It's been a long time. Hey, hello to all the YouTube subscribers of Steve. We're here to talk about the Royal Rumble that just took place. So I hope you guys enjoy. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we are all about the Rumble tonight because let's just talk about that. I mean, this is not going to be in any order. Like none of you guys know my videos by now, so I'm not surprised by any of it. I don't know. Are you surprised by any of the happenings in the Rumble, Kev?
I mean, to be honest, I'm sure everybody, who's watched the pay-per-view has been a long-time wrestling fan. I mean, they couldn't have booked the pay-per-view as bad as they have done. It just seemed like, as much as we would have loved to have Roman Reigns over with the fans, it just wasn't happening tonight. Not even Dwayne Johnson could secure that.
Exactly, yeah. Rock coming near the end couldn't even help Roman out. I mean, we all knew Roman was going to win.
Rock always gets a pop, and it's just like even he had that look on his face of what the fuck, like can't I even get my my blood relative like a reaction from the fans? It just wasn't happening. But yeah, the Rumble itself, I mean, for anybody that paid money like myself, it wasn't what it lived up to be. I was really expecting some surprise entrants like that were a little bit more better than the ones we saw. I was happy with Bubba Ray Dudley, formerly known
very happy with that.
And the Boogie Man, and of course DDP Shogo, like DDP, I love the whole diamond car and everybody, and the one to Fandango off the top ropes. But what did you think, Steve, of the entrance in the Rumble? Was you impressed?
I was impressed for the Bubba, for sure. Boogeyman and DDP, his mentality, come in, diamond cutter, and leave. But
it would have been nice to have seen Devon rather than the knockoff version with R-Truth,
I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
R-Truth, like, he should have been eliminated very quickly. And you know what? It is what it is. Mizdow coming in at number 21 with Miz at number 1, and Miz trying to take his 21 spot. What'd you think of that?
I mean, Mizdow, as we all know, is thanks to the Miz and this whole storyline, because one thing I respect about Mizdow, Damien Sandow, formerly known, is that the guy is a professional. He does his job well. We know he's been screwed over by the WWE. We know he's getting the shitty jobs, and he's not getting to be himself and be the true talent that he is. But he's embraced that character, and he's done it so well that he's over with the fans now, and the fans love him for it. And I've got to take my hat off to the guy. He's really, really good entertainer, and I really think it'll be his time soon to have another run. Don't you think, Steve? As a former Money in the Bank winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's making it work. I mean,
and that's what we expect, is that he's a professional. He gets on with his job. He doesn't complain to the borders. He literally just does what he's got to do, and he goes out there and he performs. And just like any other person, if we was working for the WWE, job's a job. Even if you're getting beat by a little midget like Hornswoggle, you'd be thankful that you're even in the major leagues. That's as simple as that. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, he said this so many times on the app. He may not be winning, but he's on the app week after week.
Exactly.
And now he's with Miz.
Buying your tickets to see him and several other superstars perform, and at the end of the day, he's still earning big money. So, the guy's a professional. There's nothing but respect to Miz now or Damien Sandow. And like I said, he's got so much talent, and he's been underutilized at his current time, but he will be on the uprise. Very soon. I can promise you that, if they use his momentum correctly.
Yeah, and getting into the Daniel Bryan situation, being put in number 10 and getting ousted at, I believe, just before number 16. I was watching that, and I was so disappointed in that, and they should have booked that much better. But it is what it is. I was just saying it is what it is. I think with Daniel Bryan, he's much. I guess I want to say he wasn't as nervous, but I could kind of see he kind of was tentative with some of the spots.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
like,
was going to say with the caliber of talent that Brian is, and then what a draw that guy is, may I add.
oh,
I mean, the fans
definitely.
go crazy for this guy. I mean, the merch, everything. I mean, he should have at least came in at 20 something. I mean, number 10 is kind of an insult. It's a slap in the face. I mean, I'm not going to put guys like Goldust down or Fandango, but I mean, they're more for that number than obviously like a Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan's a huge draw, and it was a big disappointment to see him get eliminated like that. And I mean, as much as Bray Wyatt's the future and stuff, it wasn't that great, to see that he didn't make it towards the end. I think he could have went out a little later in the Rumble, but Daniel Bryan's such a great talent. I mean, nothing but respect to the guy. I mean, the injuries, just where he's came, the story, from the
Yeah.
circuit and to who he is now, is just he's an inspiration to a lot of people like me and you. So I mean,
Yeah.
he was once a fan, become wrestler, and he even got to marry a hot twin. So nothing but respect to the guy. He ain't the biggest fish in the pond, but he can sure as hell put up a fight.
Yeah, and he's got the fans behind him. I mean, I was watching at a movie theater with a couple friends of mine, and the whole theater, as soon as he hit, was chanting yes, yes, yes. And when he got eliminated, the whole theater went crazy.
Exactly, and that's what we're talking about. It's not even just Canada. It's over here in the UK. Where I'm from, London. Like the States, just anywhere. Brian's just like over with the fans, period. And that whole yes movement is still going strong to this day. And the whole time he was away, you thought his momentum and everything would have died down, but if anything, it only just increased. And even when he got eliminated, the fans were still chanting his name. Like,
directly after, the fans in Philly were chanting his name and chanting yes, and they had some CM Punk chants in there. We'll get to Punk in a second, but
Reigns got booed out of the building, unfortunately. I mean, I like Reigns, I know a lot of you guys wouldn't agree with myself and Steve, but we're fans of Reigns, and I can understand he might not be the best talker on the mic, and he might not have like a moveset of 100 different moves. He might not be the most technically sound guy, but one thing he has going for him is the bloodline. He's got the image. He might have a few movesets, but he still connects with the audience. But unfortunately, at this current time, he isn't quite in with the crowd as much. Like he needs to kind of switch it up and become he's still relevant. I'm not saying he's not relevant. I mean, like, become relevant in a way in which, he's impressive towards the crowd again. Something fresh rather than the same old, with the Superman punch and stuff like that. But I'm still a fan of the guy. I just think it was bad timing, when they decided to push him and have him yet again, do something amazing. Because last year he broke the record for the most eliminations in a Rumble match, and now this year he won it. So it's kind of like they're pushing this guy through the roof too soon. So they're having him do too much too soon, and it's not easy for someone being a new talent, being that young and having all that pressure on you coming from that Samoan, bloodline, and just obviously the world's in his hands at this current time, and obviously even his cousin Dwayne Johnson was in attendance tonight, and not even he could get him like a pop from the fans. So it's tough love for Roman Reigns. But what do you think of that, Steve? How do you think that all played out?
That played out, I think, how it was supposed to play out, and you're right with the Rock coming down and trying to get a little more pop and less heat off Roman. And you know what? It's still early, 63 days shy of Mania. Fastlane coming up, and basically, like I said, 63 days away from Mania. There's lots of time and lots of give and for something to happen. And I want to get into the triple threat.
I'm not really looking too forward to Lesnar and the Reigns matchup, and we all know what's most likely going to happen after that anyway. Rollins is probably going to cash in if he's still got the briefcase at that time. But the matchup itself, I just don't see how it's going to match up together. Like, I mean, I've not seen Reigns work with Lesnar before. I've not really seen them two in the ring much. And like I said, it just doesn't seem like a box office draw to me. It's not as appealing. Lesnar's always gonna, obviously be money, period. And Reigns is, he's somewhat get in there, but nowhere near the caliber of a Lesnar or an Undertaker or anybody like that, or even his cousins Wayne. I just don't see this match being the match that you're going to look forward to come WrestleMania. And with the streak gone, and that's no longer up for grabs. I mean, what are WWE going to bring to the table that's going to make us want to, tune into the network and, to check out WrestleMania, I just
Absolutely. I mean, now that the fanfare of the streak is gone, what's next? And with Brock being a part-timer.
They no longer have that, so...
Yeah, and I want to get into speaking of Brock, I want to get into that triple threat main event with Rollins and Cena, and match of the year, man. I'd call it match of the year.
Seth Rollins, what a performer! But you go and take it away, Steve.
Yeah, like I said, match of the year for me, and I thought, and good spots. I mean, with Brock taking that big bump from Rollins off the top into the table.
I would have said match of the year, but we've only just kicked off the year, so we're going to give it a bit of time yet,
Yeah. You know what? Like being there in the moment and watching all that, to me it was like, this is great. This is what a triple threat needs to be. This is the caliber that it needs to be at, and
absolutely. And that's what you want to see when it comes to like a main event.
Definitely.
For a championship, it's amazing. That's what gets the fans off their feet. The risks that they take, like the way it was put together.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say real quick, I want to touch upon something. I believe, backstage politics. Vince said that he doesn't think Rollins was hungry for that brass ring. If you were to say, Vince, do you think he's hungry now? I would say Vince would definitely, swallow his pride and say, okay, yeah.
Vince is
because after that performance, I mean, it's hard to argue with the talent, who Seth Rollins is about,
Vince is going to change his tune pretty quickly, I'd say.
Absolutely, yeah. Seth Rollins, for me, shows why he belongs there in the main event spot. He's come a long way from the Shield. He never really stood out too much in the Shield. I know he was the architect, but at the same time, when we go back and look at the Shield, we was more interested in Dean Ambrose and Reigns. He was kind of left out. He did all the high spot moves and things like that, but he wasn't really focused on it. It was more towards, Reigns. People gravitated towards Reigns and obviously Ambrose because he was crazy. But Rollins has really, really come a long way. He was actually the least I expected to do good out of the three of them. For some reason, I just didn't think he was going to go as far as the other two. But he's doing for himself, the whole authority.
Yeah, with the authority backing you and Triple H's mind, being in the business 20 years, and you know what, having that guy, having that mind behind you, that's a confidence builder.
Yeah, and if the thing, if we go back like 10 years, I mean, he wouldn't be in that spot because, there was this stereotype of having this bodybuilder type image, to just be a main event star in the first place. I mean, even if you couldn't talk for shit, if you had a body like, Dave Bautista, I mean, you would get that spot straight away. So I'm glad to see the business has came a long way and they don't underestimate, like smaller talents and, look down upon people that might not have that stature, that physical well-being of being like some of these freaks that we've seen over the years, like a Lesnar and a Bautista and, even Dwayne Johnson as of recent is a massive guy, a lot of mass. So, I mean, Rollins ain't the biggest guy. He's not small either, but he's not obviously somebody that you're used to seeing in the main event, especially if you're looking at guys like John Cena and Batista and just people like that. That these are big guys, like heavily muscled. Like it's nice to see that there's not that stereotype anymore of every main eventer should look like a superhero sort of thing. So it's nice to see a change of things and to see the business go in a healthier direction, less steroids.
Very well put, my friend. Very well put. Let's change gears right now. Let's talk about UFC and the happenings. Let me, first off, right off the bat, let's get your thoughts on Punk.
Oh, well, CM Punk, well, we're going to keep this wrestling, related, obviously, before we dive into the world of MMA, because obviously he's a person that came over from WWE. CM Punk, we know that he's got a background in jiu-jitsu. He trains with the Gracies. I think what's the other discipline, Kempo or something like that. I'm not too keen on that. I know personally that Punk can handle himself, but we got to think, can he really hang with guys that have been training their whole lives? They've been dedicated to that profession since, from the age of like 12 or 10 years of age or even younger. Guys like George St. Pierre training their whole life, black belts in many disciplines. I don't think Punk can hang with these guys, and if he was to, they would set it up to where they'd have him fight some pub fighter, someone that was rubbish with a 0-1 record, who would get the shit, beat out of him by just about anybody. So, that would seem right, to make money at least for Punk. But if he went up against a top 10 guy, he would get absolutely demolished. We're talking about, if he came in at middleweight, you got guys like Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold, we've got even like older guys like, even someone like Henderson, Dan Henderson would demolish CM Punk, you got Jacare Souza, you got Gegard Mousasi, just to name a few, Yoel Romero, Tim Kennedy. These guys would eat CM Punk alive, so he would not hang with these guys. But I know why they picked him up on their radar is because he's a good draw, and he'll make them a lot of money. But I think Conor McGregor's already achieving that. So I don't know, man. But what do you think, Steve?
Basically, I'm with you on that. Put him with the right opponent. It's going to be a good fight, and I just hope that people who know him obviously from WWE and all that wrestling can finally put to rest that he's gone and he's starting a new chapter,
I can respect that. I'll give him 10 out of 10 for guts, and courage, and just stepping out of his comfort zone. And it's like he said, it's either now or never. So even if he loses or if he wins, we've got to respect him for getting in there and throwing hands with some of the world's best. So, anybody in the UFC is, a respectable fighter. It's the top of the top. So, best of luck to CM Punk. That's what he's going to need, because, like I said, would you agree that he could not hang with at least a top 5 guy, at least,
totally
in the
agree.
Division, especially. That's a dangerous division right there. Like I said, Chris Weidman, just to name a few. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I want to get your thoughts on the what happened on this past weekend with Fight Night and Rumble Johnson shocking the world with that round 1 TKO of Gustafsson.
Yeah, he shocked the world, but he never shocked me. Me and my nephew, my younger nephew, he's about 17, going on 18. He's into MMA like myself, and we always talk amongst ourselves. And he's a big Gus fan, Gustafsson, and he was very keen that Gus was going to beat Johnson. But I told my nephew, if Johnson could apply the pressure and he could get in there with the power that he has, it's freakish. Just in that fight against Lil Nogueira, the way he just put him out in the first round, we've not seen a Nogueira, take a beating like that. And Nogueira's are tough, and same again, he knocked the guy out in the first round, and I don't think too many people have knocked that guy out. He might even be the first person to knock out Lil Nog, but Anthony Johnson, he's a dangerous opponent for anybody. A lot of guys, they turn down fights with this guy. A lot of people duck Anthony Johnson. When Dana calls them up and says you want to fight him, a lot of people have actually, this has been recorded, have turned him down. Much like other guys, like people like Hector Lombard and other dangerous opponents that nobody wants to fight. But the way Anthony Johnson just took out Gus within 2 minutes of the first round. I was expecting it to go the distance, but the minute he rocked Gus, Gus couldn't recover. I give 10 out of 10 for to Gus, but you can't contain that power. It's too much.
Absolutely, yeah.
Johnson, he just couldn't recover. It was just unlucky, He got caught. It happens in fighting. One punch can change the whole fight. That's that.
And so, just like Dana says, Rumble.
I feel for the guy that he lost his father. he missed out on his second opportunity against Jones because Jones got injured, if I'm not mistaken. And then on top of that, he lost in front of his home crowd of an attendance of, how many people was there, Steve? Like 20 or 30,000?
Something, I think it was around 17 to 20,000, something like that.
Yeah, all his friends and family, I mean, he's had a lot to put up with, so you really feel for the guy. But much respect to Anthony Johnson, very, very humble, athlete. And I really hope he, dethrones Jones. And if he can't dethrone Jones, then who's left for Jones? So that's what I'm going to say. What about you, Steve?
You know what? I'm with you on that whole Rumble thing, and you can't leave it to the judges, and Rumble did not leave it to the judges, that's for sure. And speaking of Jones, with the whole cocaine thing that happened after 182, and
Yeah.
you know what?
Opinion on that?
My opinion on that is Jones needs to be stripped, but
Yeah.
in today's world of greed and all that shit, Jones will not be stripped. He will keep his title, and hopefully Rumble down the line will take it off him.
I was kind of taken back by, the president, Dana White, and legends like Chuck the Iceman Liddell, the way they responded to that news. I mean, they almost defended him and was supportive towards, his slip up. Even, greats like Anderson Silva. And, I just couldn't understand why they would support, a guy doing such a bad habit in a professional sport where, they're drug tested and, it's illegal and, and apparently he did like some form of steroid as well thrown in with that. So, I mean, I was really surprised by that. But, I mean, I suppose young stars have slip-ups here and there. But, I mean, when you're in a profession like that, you can't afford to be doing dumb shit when you've got sponsors. I mean, he was sponsored by Nike. Did he do like a Reebok deal as well? I'm not too sure.
I believe they're all on Reebok now. The Nike deal with him is gone, and they're all on Reebok. So.
Reebok, yeah. So I mean, so like he's constantly fucking up with the Nike deal. He he got that taken away from him. If I'm not mistaken, because of DUI, correct?
I believe so. I can't confirm that, but
that's part of it. And then same again, he gets a new deal. I don't know if it was Reebok or some new sponsor, and he goes and does something as extreme as that. And I'm just ashamed of the guy. I really, I used to look up to him as an athlete and a role model, obviously as a fan. And to see him do something like that, it's not good for the sport. And like Steve says, let's hope that in the end it pays off, and Anthony Johnson can take away that championship so he can go to rehab and finish up with that. And well, I'm sure he'll be done with rehab before anyway, but and then he will fight. But what I mean is, hopefully Jones can get his act together and come back hungrier and go after the title again, because he's had it too long, and it would be nice to see a new face, because like I said, he's practically wiped the division, and the only person left at this current time is probably Anthony Johnson. So I mean, I like his chances though, Anthony Johnson. I don't think Jones could deal with his power. His power is something else, freak of nature.
That is definitely true, my friend. Anything else that we haven't touched on?
I just want to touch on just the other matchups. Just a few co-main event. We had like Gegard Mousasi and going up against Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson, legend in the sport. Steve, I know you're a big fan of Fender.
Definitely.
I mean, he got stopped in a minute. It was his eyelid got slit or something off of a straight jab from Mousasi. It was TKO stoppage.
Dangerous stuff when you get your eyes slit up and. Yeah, like I said, it's dangerous stuff when you get an eye injury, especially from just a straight punch. And
he said he wasn't able to see through that eye as well. I mean, I just worry about a fighter of his age. He needs to just know when to step away. I know it's all he knows and it's what he loves, but there comes a time where you're past your prime and you just can't get it done with these younger guys. I mean, Gegard Mousasi is a very, very dangerous opponent for anybody. He's capable of becoming a middleweight champion, much like all the other top 5, top 10 guys. They're all capable of being a champion in their own right. So I mean, I think Ender, as good as he is and as great as he is, and he's still got that knockout power, I think he needs to, walk away, from the Elsko, and I think his time is done. Don't you think?
I agree. And like even at the press conference, he was asked about brain trauma and are you afraid of getting injuries like serious brain injuries? And Hendo basically said no. He said I have no fear basically, and
Yeah.
he needs to realize he's not a young man anymore, like you said, and go on
Yeah.
and live a good life.
And I've noticed with him, he's more injury prone nowadays because of his age and the history of the injuries that he's had and stuff. And also, if you notice during like press conferences and just interviews, he doesn't talk as fast. Like he's
Hmm.
very laid back and he takes his time when it comes to like talking. And that might be effects of like brain trauma, like just in the future, because he's not slurring his speech just yet, but he will eventually get to that.
If he's not careful, he'll be that way soon.
Oh, yeah, because as it is, he's kind of slow with his words at times, and I just think, like, how many hits to the head is this? I mean, because if you look at his last performances, his last win was against Shogun Rua, but the ones before that, against guys like Vitor Belfort, recently Gegard Mousasi, people before that, I mean, he's been losing back to back. I think he at one point lost 3 fights back to back just before the Shogun win. So in his last 6 fights, he's only won one, and that's not good, man. So
Yeah, Dana's probably gonna have that talk with him.
Yeah, and just to finish up, Phil Davis was on a good roll. He beat obviously Leo Machida.
Hmm.
He really thought it was his time. He's one of pound for pound one of the best wrestlers.
Mr. Wonderful and Bader. That was.
And,
Yeah, I love those two.
Won by split decision, so I don't know how that's going to affect Phil Davis, but we'll hope to see Phil, Mr. Wonderful, pick up some victories again at some point in time. I like Phil Davis, very good contender for Jones also. And and another guy to beat Gus, obviously, via submission. And Ryan Bader, same again, another hungry young competitor that is another threat also, in the title picture. He's another guy to look out for. So that about covers it. So all I'm going to say is I look forward to the upcoming fights. Steve, who will you go with out of Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz?
Wow. Okay. You know what?
I'm actually going to say Nick Diaz. I don't know why. I just think there's a bit of ring rust for both guys. But I think Nick Diaz has got nothing to lose, and I think he's going to put it all on the line and really have something to prove and silence a lot of fans.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you there with Nick, and I'm sure Nate will be cornering him, and with Anderson being out like he was, and he took a while to battle back from that leg injury, and everyone saw that leg injury that was watching that pay-per-view a couple of years ago, and it was.
Especially on a mental standpoint, he's not the same fighter.
Absolutely not the same.
He's not as confident as he used to be, and he's not as I don't think he believes in himself as much as he used to, and that will affect a fighter when it comes to how they perform. Obviously, it's all about that being cool, calm, collected. I think nerves and pressure may get to Anderson because obviously he's the favorite. Nick Diaz is the underdog. Nick Diaz, as far as I'm concerned, he's got some good hands, great boxing skills. I think he can get the job done, Steve. I really think that he could actually achieve that knockout. I would call it second round if he doesn't get past the first. I'm saying right here, right now, you heard it first. Nick Diaz, TKO or KO, second round.
Second round it is from the big man, Kev. Let's get your thoughts quickly on, I believe it's Tate and McMahon.
Oh, Tate and McMahon. Amisha Koke Tate, another great women's fighter. McMahon, obviously Olympic caliber of a wrestler. So it's hard to call this one because if it was a stand-up fight, your money's on Tate. And obviously, if it was to, even though Tate's well-rounded, if McMahon can take her to the ground, I mean, it might go towards her favour. So I'm just basically saying the same old typical, stand-up fight goes to Tate. If it goes to the ground, McMahon's got the advantage because of the Olympic wrestling. ability. I believe she's a silver medalist. Am I correct?
I believe so. I can't be. I'm not too sure on that one, but her last fight with when she did Rousey.
They cope well under pressure, and that's when they sometimes perform their best. So I think McMahon's definitely got the mental edge in this one, but never count Tate out. Tate's always going to be a top 3 competitor in the women's division.
Absolutely.
For that weight class.
Plain and simple answer. I'm gonna stick with Tate on this one, and hopefully my picks pan out. That is it for me.
Pick one. I'd say Tate, definitely. Tate's a good fighter. Yeah, no, I just want to say, I just want to throw something out there. Thoughts on a potential return of the guy we saw on the pay-per-view tonight to the MMA world, Brock Lesnar. Do you think he'll come back to the UFC, or would he go over to Bellator?
You know what? With the amazing shape that he showed he was in tonight, I'm thinking he'll stick with UFC and Dana.
Absolutely. And your thoughts quickly on Kimbo Slice returning to, well, not returning, but going over to Bellator.
Kimbo. Oh, wow. I haven't heard that name in a while. You know what? I wish him the best in Bellator. That's it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing about Kimbo. I don't think he's going to do too well. He's not championship material in my eyes, and if he was, just remember something, that's Bellator. You know, the best of the best is UFC. We see what happened to Kimbo in UFC. Quick shout out to Matt Mitrione. Steve Kelly met that guy. We see what
incredible guy.
Kimbo,
incredible guy.
And by the way, Mitrione, we just want to say, you know, I know Steve spoke about this. He's improving as well. He's definitely one to watch out for. You know, he's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
His last, performances, against Gonzaga, for example, Matt Mitrione, is a step better. So I mean, got to hand it to him. He's come a long way.
He's working his way back up, that's for sure.
Sorry, what's that?
He's working his way back up, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he's got a slice of humble pie, and now we're starting to see the better of Matt Mitrione.
Excellent.
So I look forward to what's to come. And and last but not least, Mikko Krokop returning to UFC, Pride legend.
I almost forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
Or whatever it is. What's that?
I almost forgot about his return. I wanted to say something about that. And those guys are hooking up in Poland, I heard.
Yeah, and obviously, I won't say Croatians and Polish and Lithuanians are all the same, but there's a similar thing going on, the Eastern European thing. So, I mean, Krokop is definitely a good draw for Poland. I believe that's the first time they're going over to Poland, if I'm not mistaken. The first UFC event being held there. And it looks to be a good card. And then Krokop, he's still a dangerous threat to anybody. I mean, this guy is like special forces, in Croatia or some shit, and he's a world-class kickboxer. And we used to see what he could do in Pride. I mean, he never quite transitioned over into UFC with the skills he had in Pride, but I mean, Pride's a different set of rules, and he was a bit younger back then. But I hope Krokop can pull off some nice knockouts. It'd be nice to see him land a head kick on somebody, so we can kind of think back to the Pride days. But
definitely. Definitely.
If you ask Steve on the UFC games, I used to pick him all the time and just head kick the shit out of people.
Yeah, the head kicks on the video games are not as quite fun as the head kicks in real life that he can throw out.
It's a little bit rigged in a way. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a disadvantage. I mean, if you ever played the Undisputed 3, I mean, Krokop's definitely a cheat for heavyweights.
Basically, playing that, it's a one kick and gone.
Yeah. What's that?
You and me playing that on Xbox, it's basically one kick and it's over.
Practically, yeah. I've had the chance to play the new EA Sports game. I played it on the PS4, the UFC EA Sports and EA Sports, and it's really, really good. I played the demo with Gus and Jones, and I believe you did too, Steve.
I did as well, yeah.
I personally like the mechanics. I believe my nephew told me that he didn't like it as much. I think, Steve, you're a little bit biased as well, correct? You're not too keen on mechanics and stuff.
You're right. It's to me like I said, I've only played a demo, and it's just to me, I wasn't as used to it as I'm a straight up UFC like 1, 2, and 3 guy.
Exactly, yeah. But that does it. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed our analysis on everything. You know, I believe we went quite in depth with the MMA.
Yeah, we're coming up on 35 minutes, my friend.
More, you know, gravitate towards MMA at this current time because with the way wrestling's looking, it's not what it used to be. You know, once upon a time it used to be so great to where you wouldn't even want to leave your seat. You'd be literally like super glued to your chair and you couldn't keep your eyes off the screen. Now it's kind of like I find myself looking at my phone and playing a game like, you know, Clash of Clans, to give a quick plug there, you know, on the phone or something, you know. I'm not too into wrestling as much, but I'm trying to find my passion for it again, you know, my love for wrestling.
Yeah.
Sure it's still going strong.
Definitely.
Love for wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Yeah, that about does it. And links to Kev's channel will be displayed. And like I said,
I don't make videos no more for you guys, so I hope I don't disappoint if anyone does decide to subscribe. But I think there's a few videos left up there. I put on there. I've just been wrapped up with life, you know, relationships, etc. Same as Steve, he's been working and stuff like that. I mean, we don't really do too many videos anyway, so I mean, life gets in the way sometimes. But
that's why they call it life.
If I do return, you're hearing it here first, and this is going to be a surprise to Steve. My first video will actually be with Steve. If I do decide to make a video soon, then I'll let him know about it in advance. And I've only just told him that now. So Steve,
the Broski Roundtable is back.
I was on your show, so I mean, the least I can do my old times, you know.
Guest starring. I love that spot.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah, you know, and you make sure you subscribe to Steve. He's a great guy, you know, he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to wrestling, been a fan for as long as I can remember, and I've known the guy for 4 years, and, you know, he's one of the most humble, loyal friends I've known through the web, you know, he's a great guy, so, and like I said, he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to wrestling. I mean, we're talking about, like, a lifelong fan, so, I mean,
and I didn't pay him to say that, ladies and gents.
And, yeah, definitely subscribe. Hit that subscribe button.
All right, my friend. It was fun doing this, and thank you very much. And to everybody who's watching this, who stuck around for that almost 40-minute long video, thank you very much, and adios.
And John Burns, cocaine is one hell of a drug.
Adios, my friends.